Welcome to Express Tribune Headlines. The Biden administration has notified Congress of a proposed $1 billion weapons package for Israel, sourced from a substantial $95 billion fund previously approved for defense support to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. This move comes despite President Biden's earlier caution about potentially withholding military support if Israel proceeded with actions in Rafah against U.S. advisement. While the package generally received backing, it faces potential opposition from some congressional Democrats concerned about civilian impacts in Gaza. Prime Minister Narendra Modi criticized the opposition India bloc at a Bihar rally, labeling its leaders as cowards frightened by Pakistan's nuclear capabilities. Modi's remarks were in response to National Conference leader Farooq Abdullah's comments about having atom bombs and not wearing bangles, following Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's statement on integrating Pakistan-occupied Kashmir with India. Modi accused the opposition of being soft on terrorism and questioning India's military actions, while also jesting about Pakistan's lack of resources. The Islamabad High Court issued notices to several key security and investigation agencies, including ISI and FIA, seeking responses regarding alleged attempts to influence the outcome of an audio leaks case. This action comes as the court also began contempt proceedings based on complaints from two judges who claim they were intimidated and slandered amidst a defamation campaign and data leaks. The government has denied these allegations, arguing that the interactions were misconstrued and that sensitive matters sometimes necessitate in-camera communications for national security reasons. Thousands attended funeral prayers for victims of clashes in Muzaffarabad, Pakistan-ruled Kashmir, on Tuesday. An alliance of civil rights group called off a protest march after several days of turmoil over high prices, in which 4 people have been killed and over 100 injured. 3 protesters were killed on Monday evening after paramilitary troops opened fire when they were attacked, said local government official Adnan Khurshid. A police official died in clashes over the weekend. Protesters called off the march a day after Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif approved a grant of 24 billion rupees to help meet most of their demands, which included subsidies on flour and electricity prices. The alliance's head Shaukat Nawaz Mir announced the decision in Muzaffarabad, the capital city of the scenic Himalayan region. Mir also demanded that the government give financial compensation for the families of 3 protesters and a police official who were killed in the violence. The Punjab Home Department has implemented a 3-day ban on visits to prisoners at Central Jail Adiala due to security reasons, affecting high-profile inmates, including former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Relatives including Qureshi's wife, sister and daughter were turned away following the sudden implementation of the ban, coinciding with a pending decision in the Cypher case appeal. This move follows a previous 2-week ban imposed in March amid heightened security measures to manage the facility's overcrowded conditions. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is organizing a conference in Doha next month to discuss Afghanistan's future, marking a third UN-sponsored attempt to build consensus among international stakeholders. The previous conference in February saw limited progress, partly due to the Taliban's boycott over disagreements about the participation of other Afghan representatives and the agenda. Despite resistance from the Taliban, the upcoming meeting aims to address critical issues like terrorism, government inclusivity, and human rights, particularly for women and girls. The Pakistani rupee showed modest stability, slightly increasing by rupees 0.02 to close at rupees 278.18 against the US dollar, amidst discussions with the IMF regarding a potential $8 billion loan. This stability is supported by expected foreign investments from Saudi Arabia and other multilateral inflows, which could enhance Pakistan's foreign reserves and economic outlook for 2024 to 2025. Meanwhile, the gold price continued its decline, losing rupees 1,200 per tola, aligned with global market trends. The Shehbaz Sharif-led government is grappling with a spiraling crisis in the power sector, with losses from electricity theft and insufficient bill recoveries hitting rupees 589 billion this year. Amidst debates on management solutions, the government has dismissed transferring control of power distribution companies to provinces due to potential financial burdens. Instead, it's exploring privatization or management concessions, although these options face significant challenges including asset transfers and opposition from labor unions. A detailed study is now being commissioned to better understand and address these complexities. Shaheen Shah Afridi's precise bowling and half-centuries from Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam led Pakistan to a 6-wicket win over Ireland, securing a 2-1 T20I series victory in Dublin. Despite Lorcan Ducker's spirited 73 propelling Ireland to 178, Pakistan's batting strength, aided by Ireland's weak bowling and fielding, made the chase straightforward, finishing with 3 overs to spare. The Chief Justice of Pakistan, Qazi Faiz Issa, directed the government to enable PTI founder Imran Khan, who is currently incarcerated, to participate via video link in a case regarding changes to the country's accountability laws. The case, heard by a 5-member Supreme Court bench, involves Imran's challenge to the 2022 amendments made by the previous government, which he claims were designed to protect influential figures and allow corruption. The court had earlier restored corruption cases that had been dismissed under these amendments, and is now considering intra-court appeals that could potentially restart proceedings based on procedural grounds. The death toll from the cold lava floods in Indonesia's West Sumatra province has risen to 57, with 22 people still missing. Triggered by heavy rains, the flood struck on Saturday night, devastating buildings, roads, and other infrastructures across several regions. Rescue operations continue, employing both heavy machinery and manual efforts, focusing on river estuaries and areas where victims may be buried. Officials are considering relocation options for residents as part of the reconstruction efforts, amid a prolonged rainy season influenced by El Niño. Pakistan has launched negotiations with the International Monetary Fund on a new expansive bailout program, starting with a fiscal adjustment of over Rs 1.6 trillion in the upcoming budget. The discussions, led by Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb and IMF's Nathan Porter, aim to build on the progress made during the recently concluded 9-month standby arrangement. The fiscal adjustment, comprising additional revenue measures, expenditure rationalization, and privatization, is critical for the budget set for presentation on June 6th to 7th. Key strategies include pension reforms, a shift to a real value-added tax system, and significant increases in the petroleum levy to boost non-tax revenue. Protesters disrupted Google's annual I/O conference, blocking an entrance to oppose Project Nimbus, a $1.2 billion contract between Google, Amazon, and the Israeli government for cloud services. Critics, including former Google employee Ronnie Geiger, argue that the technology is being used to develop military tools against Palestinians. The protest featured signs and chants against the project, with organizer Wasim Hague claiming the technology aids in military operations and contributes to violence in Gaza. The blockade ended after several hours. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators at the University of California at Berkeley dismantled their encampment on Tuesday, May 14th, following an agreement for UC Berkeley officials to meet with them. This action comes amidst widespread student protests across the U.S. related to the war in Gaza, with various universities experiencing confrontations, police interventions, and negotiations. While some protests continue, Berkeley's administration has permitted the pro-Palestinian camp under conditions of non-disruption and non-violence. The campus has also seen counter-protests mainly peaceful, except for an isolated scuffle on May 1st. The Cannes Film Festival commenced on Tuesday, May 14th, with a star-studded red carpet event at the Grand Theatre Lumiere, celebrating Meryl Streep. The renowned actress received a lengthy ovation as she was honored by Juliette Binoche, who praised Streep's impact on female portrayal in cinema. The opening film, the French comedy The Second Act, featured Léa Seydoux and Vincent Lindon, was showcased following the ceremony, which was presided over by this year's jury head Greta Gerwig. Streep, adorned in a white gown and black framed glasses, officially declared the festival open alongside Binoche.